SteelSnake here with my thoughts on the Star Wars Battlefront 2 beta. We're going to kick it off by looking at all three modes which I have played, starting with Galactic Assault. Battlefront 2 features four kind of classes, similar to something of Battlefield. I mainly run with Assault and Heavy. So it's just what I've got, guys, is just some gameplay of just the following game modes, and I'm just going to give my overall thoughts on them. I had planned to release, multiple videos, but I didn't think it was overall necessary. These first few clips are me just trying to get used to the game and used to the weapons, because I like how the weapons feel in this game. That's a bit of positive that I'm coming away from this beta. I think the guns feel good, they're fun to use, and I was worried that they would have little to no recoil, but they do, so they take some getting used to. The droids also have the same, because we've got two factions. What you're going to see is we're first playing on a map called Feed, which is on Naboo from the first film. I won't give my thoughts on the films, and these are some of the characters. I'll talk more about those in depth. I think this is the worst part of the beta for me, is the Galactic Assault. I found this to be... I think this game mode's got legs to it, and I think it's got the potential to be special, but I don't know, I didn't find this mode a lot of fun. I think the map choice is pretty poor. If you've seen Warrior X talk about this, he talked about how he had similar thoughts. So just thinking that the game mode wasn't a particularly correct one to choose. This map's very small, you're heading straight forward, and I just found it quite boring and quite tense. Not tense, rather. I just found it not fun to play. This was a positive, actually. When you first land, this was a much more preferred moment of the game, just because of how hectic it is. This is when Battlefront is at its best for me. When it's like this, and you don't really, everything's hectic, because that's what you want this game to be. You want it to be Battlefield with Star Wars, essentially. And moments like that are closer to that for me. And again, we've just got some further gameplay of me. You'll get in this game, as you can see here, I'm trying to use the shotgun, because each class has their own abilities by pressing either R1, L1, or R1 and L1. I've got some flying gameplay here, guys. Flying's an interesting one. I'm going to talk more in depth on the flying at a later stage in the video. But as I was saying, you get four classes, and they've all got their own abilities, pressing L1, R1, and L1, R1 together. Some things are basic, sort of like a shotgun for the assault class, and grenades, and a scout dart, I believe, or I think that's the name of it. I mainly work with the heavy, because I think that's been the most fun to use. I can't give you an in-depth look at the officer and the specialist, just because I haven't used them really. I liked heavy, so that's what I stuck with for the beta. Now, in terms of the overall going into the beta, my personal thoughts were, guys, I don't plan to get this game at launch. If you've seen a video before, I think the channel update, I said this already. I've said the only way that would happen is if this beta convinced me it was going to be the greatest game of all time, better than like Resident Evil 4 or something. Obviously the beta's not done that, guys, and I'm coming away from the beta mixed feelings. I see a lot of potential here, guys, I really do. And I want it to be the best game possible, but I've got a few gripes. The best way to describe it is what's going to come up later. It has the moments of promise, but among that you get a lot of boring moments where it's just not right fun to play. That's my overall taking from the beta. I had a lot more fun playing Strike and Starfighter Assault, I think the name of that game mode is. I crash. I'm not a very good flyer. My flying gets a little bit better. Of course, Battlefront, like the first one, allows you to change your the camera. It can either be first person or third person. I've found a lot more fun rocking with third person, so if you've been struggling, I do recommend that. It could help you out a lot. It certainly helped me out as this game went on. Now, in terms of the first Battlefront, guys, I didn't play the first Battlefront that came out a few years ago. I didn't really have much particular interest in it. From what I could tell, that game was lacking in content. Not that special either. I think this game's a definite improvement from what people are saying, but it's all about how much content's going to be here at launch, guys. And if it's going to be that fun to play, hopefully, this map isn't going to be vindictive of most maps in the game. As you see, the shield from the assault, the heavy, sorry. And this is, probably the best one I had in the beta, to be honest with you. There's a cool roll and a cool kill there. A rare moment of class from me in an online game. This was, for me, the most fun I had on Galactic Assault, this very moment here, when things were kicking off. This is when Battlefront's at its best. But sadly, it was a moment, 1 in 40 minutes, Darth Maul appears to save us. Darth Maul, from what I'm hearing from most people, he's pretty overpowered, and he does seem to be pretty good here in taking down whatever the hell that thing is. I couldn't even tell you myself. I said that, but this is when Battlefront was at its best, when it was kicking off like this, when we were pushing the enemy forward. Very rare moment in Galactic Assault though for this for me. This, you know, I say it happened once in like 40 minutes where I got this level of excitement. And, you know, this is what I want to see more of from the full game. Moments like this where I really feel in the thick of it and I'm having a lot of fun, because most of the time I just find the game to be a bit boring. Now I think what you're going to see in a minute, guys, is me switching to a special kind, because what happens in this game is you collect points for getting your kills, objectives, that kind of basic things, and by doing this you can play as the special characters. This is a good system. I like this a lot. It means that not anybody gets to be Darth Maul. You've got to actually be good at the game now to get the special characters, which is good. They did need that last time, really, because as I recall in the first game, you sort of just got them by picking them up, so anybody could have them. So they're not trying to be accessible to everybody. They're trying to make you actually work for things, which is a big improvement, and that's what we want. This is the second phase of Galactic Assault, where you've got to escort the vehicle to like the main base, and then you're going to try and storm in to take these two things. From my experience, it's heavily weighted to the defense. The attackers never won once when I was playing, which is a disappointment. But, you know, Battlefield 1 had a lot of issues with operations to launch with. It took a while to fully sort those, so it could be something similar to Battlefront. Here's me using the Super Battle Droid, which is one of the enemies I've had to use, you know, with the points I've bought. And as you can see, they're a lot more powerful than regular enemies. Most enemies down much quicker. And that also has the abilities with R1 and L1. This is me on the defensive side, so I'll be able to talk a bit more better at this, guys. As you can see, it's just so easy to cover the areas in the game. Like, I just think the attackers have got no real chance on this part anyway. I'd say, guys, what little I played of Galactic Assault, the attacking side never really had much of a chance. This is the furthest they ever got for me. As you can see, it's just so easy to funnel them through the different corridors. One thing I have to say is the game does look beautiful, and I'm watching it back here, and there's Ray, another character you can play with. But this is me, guys, they've only got these 3 entries to come through, and I just found it so easy to hold them back. But that was my thoughts on Galactic Assault, guys. Not the best game, but I didn't have a lot of fun with that, and I wasn't coming away all that happy with the beta. Moments of promise, but just dull, really, sadly. Now the following is of Strike, I believe the game mode is, with also Warrior X, which the beta allows you to play together with friends. Playing with friends isn't the same as it is in, say, Battlefield 1, where you go into squads or anything. This game, it doesn't seem to be trying to be as hardcore as Battlefield is, which is probably a good thing, because at the end of the day, DICE want to, you know, make this game a bit more accessible than they would, you know, a Battlefield, for instance. They want to actually be selling this to people. And this is the map for Strike. I've gone straight into some Wookiee action, because the Wookiee I found is a lot of fun using the crossbow. This map on Strike works a ton better. It's a much better map designed for the game mode in question. And this is a fun, sort of your basic capture an objective and take it back to an area, you know, standard kind of thing. But it plays out fun, and it's fun to play in a Star Wars skin, which at the end of the day is what I want. I don't, you know, I want a game that feels a lot of fun to play and tries to do something slightly different. But if it just gets the basics right in a Star Wars skin, it's already got a lot of weight with it because of the nostalgia that comes with that. But you'd say I had a lot more fun playing this one. Map design is a lot better, and this was one where, you know, both attacking and defense won. You know, it's all more dependent on how good you are playing as a team together, and that was much more joyous. My time with this game mode was so much more fun, and if the rest of the beta can deliver things like this, I'll come away extremely happy with the game. Not planning to get the game at launch, guys, as I've said, and the beta sort of confirmed that. You know, is it a question now of will I buy it at all? I'm not sure. You know, the beta wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. It was slightly better, actually. I was going in with very low expectations. So the game has definitely, you know, I'd say beaten those at the very least. Warrior X, he's not too sure whether he's going to get this game either at launch. You know, I think he walked away from the beta even slightly more disappointed than I did. So I tried desperately to get this guy. But getting kill streaks was so much fun in this game, had to be said, and rolling never gets old. No matter what game it is, whether it's Metal Gear Solid or Star Wars Battlefront as a Wookiee warrior, rolling, it just can't be beaten. Too much fun. But overall, guys, I want to know what other people are thinking of the beta. You know, are you guys happy with it? As you see, that's a winning kill. I was very happy with that. Are you enjoying the beta? What was your favourite game mode? Maybe you're different to me. Maybe you thought Galactic Assault was phenomenal. I believe that was the game mode that came in last year with the beta. As you see, Warrior X absolutely dominated this game. But I believe that was in the beta last time with the first game. And I don't know whether people... I believe there was a lot of problems with that to do with spawning and the the rebels just not having a chance to win. And this is us trying to attack, so you get to see the other side of it, because the defending is pretty straightforward. As you know, me using the heavy a lot, which I had so much fun using. I just felt so cool playing this as the First Order. Really made me feel like I was playing Star Wars in the best way possible. My main worry when it comes to this game, just overall speaking away from the beta, is just like everything. I get the feeling this game is being rushed out the door, just for the release of The Last Jedi. You know, and I guarantee that in 2 years, whenever Episode 9 comes out, we're gonna see, you know, Star Wars Battlefront 3. Which I wouldn't like to see. I'd like to see him, you know, stick with this game, update this one, because this has got some legs to it, guys. I definitely want to, you know, I'm not the biggest person to enjoy online games, so I'm not always the most credible source for this kind of thing, but I definitely get a feeling that this game has potential. And here's me getting the artifact, which is pretty straightforward, and you just got to get back. You've got to get it back to your objective. While you've got it, there's no time limit on it apart from the tickets, like you have in the Battlefield, which is at the top of the screen with 83, I think that number is, or is it? Can't tell if it's 80 or 60. I'm probably going to look back and it'll be 40, somewhere just showing I'm blind. But if you are to die with the objective, then you will get a timer on that objective until somebody else picks it up. If that timer runs out, then the artifact will go back to its original starting location. Thankfully, you don't have to run too far with the artifact. It's not actually far away at all, but it works surprisingly well. You know, I thought it was a bit basic at first, but you know that you get moments of real intensity. This is one coming up. That, you know, really, these are the moments of the game that I'm coming away thinking, yes, if I get more of that, I'm going to be really happy. It's not going to be beating Titanfall 2 as my favourite online shooter at the moment, but it's got a chance if it can deliver similar moments to this. And what you got to do, you get it to the delivery point. You just got to keep it in until that circle fills. I unfortunately run out the thing and it resets. I don't know whether the time could be improved on that. I'm not sure, but that seals you the victory. Now, one problem I did have with this beta is there never seems to be an end point in matches. They just seem to do endless rounds and rounds. Now, what Warrior X has told me is he believes that it will plan to go on to the next map or something like that. Because as it stands, you know, a game doesn't finish until you decide to leave. Like, you'll just continuously find yourself doing endless rounds and rounds. And there were times when I was like, well, you know, when's this going to end? I've had enough. But you just got to quit when you feel you've done enough rounds. But so Warrior X feels that might have something to do with map rotation, which if that's the case, that could be really interesting. You know, I'd definitely be happy with that. But going back to what I was saying, guys, is I just don't want this game being rushed out the door for the Last Jedi. You know, I think, you know, Star Wars fans can wait. You know, I know it doesn't always seem like that, and I get it from a business sense. I absolutely do, guys. You're gonna want to release, you know, this game before the Last Jedi pops out. But, you know, please, EA, just try and, or DICE rather, just try and make sure that it's the best product possible. Not just ready for Last Jedi for anybody that likes Star Wars to pick it up. You know, I want a special game to come out, and this is a moment of real intensity, guys. This is Battlefront at its absolute best. Using all your abilities, you know, trying to pick up the objective, running out of tickets. I don't think we managed to do it here, but certainly a moment of real intensity. It's when the game's at its absolute, you know, it's bloody best. Has to be said. As I get mowed down quite easily. But I believe that's the end I have of the Strike game mode, my favourite game mode of the bunch, as Warrior X takes the MVP once again. The last few minutes, guys, I've got some not Galactic. I don't actually know what the game mode's called now. Basically flying. Flying, basically. This is a game mode that's all about flying, as I've just said 3 times. This is going to put your flying skills to the absolute limit. And to be fair, guys, my overall thoughts on the flying are, you know, it's not too bad. It took me some getting used to, because on the ground, movement is quite stiff and rigid, whereas it's very loose when it comes to flying. So that, you know, it takes some adjustment, it has to be said, as these are the different ones you can use. I'm using a TIE fighter, I believe, for this. Going pretty straightforward. I'm not too sure if you're going to get much variation in using different classes. I'm not sure. I don't think you're going to be getting Battlefield levels. Everything's going to be a lot, you know, dumbed down in this game, or just to, you know, it wants to be appealing to a much more casual market. But flying, I had a lot of fun with when I got used to it. And this is a mode that I really feel empowered when playing. You know, and it makes it really simple to fly. I didn't feel frustrated or anything. I felt I could be useful on the battlefield, but I didn't feel overpowered or anything. You know, I felt like, you know, I could easily take someone out, but they could also easily take me out. Because you know, it makes things very clear to you by having a red dot whereabouts to shoot to take somebody out. But obviously they've got that on you, so movement is key as always when coming to flying. And to be honest, yeah, this is me being pretty clueless to begin with, just spinning about. And the game mode sort of revolves on like defending like these I don't even know the Star Wars terminology for these. Just defending these objectives, or vice versa if the other team you'll be attacking those. And then once those get destroyed, they'll move on to a second section of defending main objectives inside the actual like starfighter. I'm just going to call it. Sorry, I'm a Star Trek person, so my Star Wars terminology isn't always the best. Warrior X is the person to ask for that kind of stuff, though. I just know it as shooting big stuff in the game. Here's me, playing the objective as the game rewards me. But I'm coming to the end of this video, guys, and I just want to say that, it's positive, but there's work to be done, is the overall impression I'm taking away from the beta. It's the same with Warrior X, how he feels about it. There's potential here, guys. I think it's certainly better than the Battlefront 1 beta, from what I've heard about that game. I'm hoping most people are feeling the same as well. Not a game I plan to get a launch to say, oh, this is pretty cool, actually, getting this. I absolutely love using Boba Fett's ship. Using those special bombs from Attack of the Clones that look like a blue. So much fun to use. And it mows you. They do an excellent job of making you feel powerful when you're in these special things, whether it's on the ground or in the air like this. At least we've got space battles in this game. EA is finally giving us the content that should have been in the first game. It's not really an excuse, but at least it's here. Because if you wanted proof that the first game was rushed out the door, then, well, it's in abundance. Hopefully we don't look back at this game and say the same and think, oh, why didn't they just release this, why didn't they just release this after episode 9? And this is just the end. This is a cool cutscene that plays. You ask Warrior X, he absolutely loves this cutscene, this head done. But I believe that would be all the gameplay footage I have got. There may be some extra more coming up just now. Yeah, there is. These are the secondary objectives that you have to destroy those two to win the game, essentially, and that's again a really cool moment. Makes you feel like Luke in A New Hope, flying through the Death Star. Not quite to that level, but nearly there. But guys, that's all the gameplay I've got, and I'll just leave you with this image. That's how I'm feeling. I'm like, will EA get this game right? Hopefully they will. There's promise here, but there's work to be done. If I had to give it a score, I hate giving scores, but it'd be like a 7, perhaps 7 or a 6. Let's hope the game's something special when it comes out. But thank you so much for watching, guys. Those have been my thoughts. Just nothing too in-depth. It's just how I feel. But thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll see you guys in the next video.